Hey, welcome back. It's time for another Trinity class. Our special Trinity on YouTube classes get you ready to meditate with us on Wednesday nights. Every week we get together from wherever we are and collect in the etheric to empower a particular energy. You can join us. This week the energy is beauty. Beauty's a simple energy. It's all around us. I don't have to teach you how to make beauty appear. It's just here. But we're going to talk tonight about a couple of things that you can do to make yourself more likely to acknowledge and experience the beauty that's there. As always, it's going to be couched in a self-defense technique. I draw all of these little exercises I give you from my experience in the martial arts and various self-defense forms. So what I want to talk about tonight is simply having your hand out in any sort of situation where you're uncertain whether this is a fight or not, whether the person's going to attack you, whether this is an ambush, whether they're just panhandling, or maybe they're about to grab your collar and shake you for money. You don't know. You should have your hands up. And not just up so that they're both parallel. One should be forward. This blades your body, presents a smaller target, and it also gives you this sort of look, which looks very good on closed-circuit TV cameras and eyewitness reports later. You're obviously not trying to start trouble. Anybody who's in this posture with their hands out like this, one hand a little further forward, you're projecting an image that says, I don't want any trouble. I'm not the one who's the aggressor here. Although this feels like, oh, this is going to make me safer, I'm in a ready-to-fight position, it looks aggressive, and it's really not any better than this. This is a wonderful self-defense posture. Number one, you've got this hand here to guard anything really close that you don't have time to duck. It's right there. And number two, you have this hand out in front of you. And this hand does a number of things for you. Number one, it's sort of a barrier. It's a fence. If you have this hand out like this, and a person comes up and bowls their way into your space, and you feel contact against your hand, you know at that moment they're not there to be polite and discuss things. They want to come into your space and they want to physically do stuff to you. There's no reason for somebody in this position to be touched on their fingers. You're making it obvious you don't want physical contact. And when somebody comes up and you feel them against your hand, you now know this has gone beyond the talking stage. We're into a fight now. And you can either run at that point if that's a possibility, or if they've got you cornered, just go ahead and hit them. Take the initiative. Get your licks in first. You're more likely to survive any violent encounter where you get the first shot. How do you know when it's time? Well, you got this little fence out there that says, wait a second, there's no reason for them to be touching me. Worse yet, if you let them touch you and you back up and you go, hey, 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 I don't want anything, and they come in again or swipe your hand down, you know it's on. This thing could save your life having it out here like this. It lets you know when things have become critical. It also provides a rangefinder. You now know exactly where the person is. If you want to hit them or palm strike them or whatever, you know you're touching them. You know exactly the distance your hand has to travel. But most importantly of all, it provides sort of an antenna. When you have your hand out, you can kind of feel where the situation is going. I call this the questing hand. It's like a little question out there going, are we? Are we not? Is this going south on me? This hand feels those kind of things. And because of that, it makes it perfect for you to experience beauty. Because beauty is here. It's all around you. You don't do anything to make beauty. You just have to experience it. Find the handle on it. And there's two things you need to know to do that. Number one, you got to be looking for it. Nobody in the world ever went out looking for ugliness and found beauty by mistake. If you're looking for ugliness, you're going to find ugliness. To find beauty, you have to be looking for beauty. You have to stick this hand out here and go, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? This questing part of you is exemplified by having this hand out here. It puts you in that mode where you are feeling for it. Because if you're not feeling for it, you won't find it. You don't say, I'm planning on finding the ugliest thing in the world, and then go, oh, by surprise, I found the most beautiful thing. It's not going to happen. You have to be looking for it. That's number one. And number two, everything's beautiful at a certain range. There's a distance that is perfect to make things beautiful. If you've ever looked at a photograph, if you have a computer that flashes different scenes on the screensaver, they're all beautiful shots. The Washington Monument, the Grand Canyon, a child picking a flower, and you go, oh, that's so beautiful. Well, that's because the photographer was standing at the perfect range. That's part of a photographer's job, is to find that perfect range. If you get enough distance or enough proximity, anything can be beautiful. You look at a plant from a certain distance and you go, oh, it's a weed, it's ugly. You get close and you notice the intricate little designs on the leaf and you go, oh my God, it's beautiful. But you had to get closer. Sometimes it's the other way around. You look at people fighting and all the stuff going on the planet and you go, oh man, this is an ugly, ugly place. But then you get out in space and you see that perfect blue marble floating there all alone in this empty void, and you think, you know what, this is a beautiful planet we live on. All the fighting and the fussing, it's still going on there, but you've got enough distance from it that it's now beautiful to you. That's the secret to beauty. You got to look for it, but two, there's a certain range for it. And this hand will tell you that. Every time you find something, you see a piece of art on the wall or a plant on the ground, put your hand out and kind of use this as a sight. Look through the fingers and you'll feel that you're either being drawn towards it or kind of pushed back from it a little bit. And in this way you can find the perfect range. Put your hand down, and if you're too close, you'll feel pushed back. And you just keep going back until you stop feeling that pressure on your hand, and then look at it. You're much more likely to see the beauty in it. Or if you find a piece of art in a gallery and you go, ah, that's just not doing it for me, put your hand up. It'll either push you back or maybe it'll pull you forward. And you'll feel this pull in your hand. And you get close enough that the pull stops, and that's the perfect range to look at that art. For you. Maybe for somebody else it would be different. But for you, you're going to see the beauty at that range. It's not just art and it's not just plants. You can do this in your life. You can find a particular situation and you're like, oh, all this work on my desk, I can't see any beauty in it. Well, put your hand out. Put that hand out and feel. And you'll feel that you should get a little distance. And maybe that's physical distance, but maybe it's also emotional distance or mental detachment. You just need to distance yourself from that project a little bit. Talk to somebody about it. Go outside, take a walk. Just put some time and space between you and the project until you can look at it and feel, oh, I'm feeling a pull now. Now it's time to go and sit down and do that work. The rangefinder that your hand provides helps you experience the beauty. It's always there in everything. It tells your subconscious, I'm looking for it, because your hand's out there as an antenna. And it also gives you that sense of where my range is. How close should I get to this to experience its beauty? If you think this stuff is useful, you should stay tuned for more Trinity.